All right, I've got 6:30, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is the April 4th, 2022 meeting of the Marymack Conservation Commission. We'll start by receiving public comment, if there is any public comment on agenda-related items. Looking around the room, I don't see any. Public hearings, we don't have any. I will just a footnote there. We will have a public hearing. We've posted the necessary posting, or met the necessary posting requirements to do a public hearing on Chapter 111. That's really the next step in that process. So hopefully we'll do that at our next meeting, right? Is that?
Is Tim going to be joining us?
He is. He is. He is, and he's gotten a lot of feedback from the town, and really framed the language and so forth. So I'll make sure we get that packet out, so everyone, although it was a short document, just so everyone has a chance to look that over. Appointments, we have none. And that brings us to statutory and advisory business. We have one item for this week, and that's the Marymack Smiles applicant. Let's see, there's the review for acceptance and consideration of final approval for a site plan to raise an existing building and construct a 4,500 square foot dental office. The parcel is located at 75 DW Highway in the I-1 Industrial Aquifer Conservation District. Tax map is 2D, lot 02B. And you have everything you need there?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. If you would, just start by stating your name.
Sure. So for the record, I'm Mira Cousins, engineer at Civil Design Consultants. So I'm here representing the applicant, Marymack Smiles. So we submitted an application for a site plan review with the planning board. And since our parcel is located within the Aquifer Conservation District, we're here to get your support and recommendation. So I'm going to start with the project background here. So the address of the parcel is 75 Daniel Webster Highway. This is map 2D, lot 28. The site is located in the I-1 and Aquifer Conservation zoning districts. The lot area of the parcel is approximately 1.6 acres and provides 212 feet of frontage along Daniel Webster Highway. So there are two existing driveway curb cuts to access the site. Currently, the site is occupied by a restaurant. That's the Luna Caprice restaurant, and the building is surrounded by pavement area. Additionally, there's a gravel parking area to the rear of the restaurant, which provides storage for tractor trailers. So existing topography, we have the highest on-site elevation at 170 feet, and that's located at the northwestern corner of the property and to the south of the existing restaurant. And then the lowest on-site elevation is at 141, which is located at the northern corner of the lot. So currently there are no on-site stormwater controls. So runoff from a portion of the driveway entrance sheet flows towards Daniel Webster Highway without any treatment. And runoff from the rest of the site flows in a northerly direction, again, without any treatment. There are no wetlands within the site. So what we're proposing here includes raising the existing building and the construction of a 4,500 square foot, one-story dental office. And the site will be accessed via a single curb cut on Daniel Webster Highway. Additional improvements include construction of a driveway, associated parking, utilities, and landscaping. In terms of stormwater, we're proposing to create a high point along the property line. So that'd be here. And so runoff from the entire parking lot will sheet flow and discharge into a proposed infiltration basin. So it'll slope downwards, and here is the infiltration basin. And additionally, the runoff from the roof area will be piped and will also discharge into the infiltration basin. So in terms of pre and post development discharge, we are reducing peak flow discharge towards Daniel Webster Highway by 100%, and there will be an average of a 30% reduction of off-site peak discharge. There will be a total net decrease of impervious area in post-development by approximately 14,000 square feet. So with that, happy to take any questions.
So the truck parking that's taking place now, you plan to continue that, or?
No, they'll have to remove that. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the current owner had an agreement with the abutting property, it's that landscaping company, to store tractor trailers on site, so they'll have to remove that.
I don't think we signed in, we approved that when the tractor trailers moved over. I don't think there was any, I think it was just a verbal agreement. I don't believe there was any signed anything, so. Cause that whole space now is gonna be a retention pond? Is that's cause that's where they were parking.
Exactly, yeah, so
Good,
that'll be
okay.
infiltration pond.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know it was included in our packets, the drainage report. I don't know if, I think everyone got that. I did dig through that in case you didn't, in the pre-development versus post-development, CFS numbers for runoff. Everything, in all cases, the post-development numbers were lower. The two-year flood went from 0.5 in DP1 and 0.2 in DP2 to 0 and 0. 2 and 0.5 in the 10-year flood, and those dropped to 1.1 and 0.0.
You want me to do my thing?
Did you look over the plans?
I couldn't see the whole set, so I just got what was in the packet. I'll give you our, what we usually tell people, just it could be in your full packet, I just didn't happen to get your full packet.
Sure.
And it will all come in a letter to the, when do you go before the planning board?
So we were scheduled for going to tomorrow's meeting, but we are gonna continue that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple of things to keep in mind is that if you were planning on using bales of any sort, they need to be straw and not hay.
Okay.
You want to let Marymack Smiles know that for snow and ice removal, we recommend a green Snow Pro certified professional.
Okay.
Okay. If there is any fertilizer that needs to be used, it needs to be low phosphate, slow release nitrogen. Okay.
Okay.
And then for any plantings, you want to make sure that they're non-invasive species. And you
Okay.
can go on the UNH co-op site to see what the invasives that we're trying to avoid are.
Okay.
Okay?
I saw on one of the
Anything else?
plans too, it identified that snow would be stored in the, or removed snow would be stored in a designated area. I just couldn't find that on the plan.
You're right, we did not show it, so.
It was- okay.
I'll make sure when we have revised plans. We did receive comment letters from the town department today, this afternoon, so we anticipate revised plans, so I'll definitely include that in the, yeah.
I think the rest of the language was good. It articulated that if the snow to be stored exceeded that, the owner would find an alternative plan off-site.
Yes.
Can you just kind of show us where you're planning for snow storage now?
Yep, so we have areas here, along this edge here. We don't want to store it in the infiltration basin, so we're gonna avoid placing snow there.
And why, in the corner of the parking lot, the top right corner there, yeah, it said no parking on the plan. What is the purpose of that area?
So that's for a fire truck to be able to come into the site and then back into that spot
I
and
got
then
it.
leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. I've never seen that before. That's very thoughtful.
Yeah.
That was what I
Yeah.
figured was the snow storage area, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, emergency access, yeah.
So is there gonna be any outside storage, any dumpsters, storage, or anything like that? It's gonna be,
Yep, so we have a dumpster pad right here.
okay. Is that curbed at all? Or is that-
No. So the curving ends on either side of that. And so we'll be on a concrete pad with a fence enclosure.
And is there infiltration, is it all sheet flow, or is there gonna, okay.
Yep, so everything's gonna sheet flow. We have a break in the curb right here and here, so that way It has a way to enter into that infiltration basin.
Okay. It's too bad. It used to be a good restaurant.
Anyone else? Anything? No? Well, thank you for coming tonight. We'll make sure,
Yep.
I'll make sure I get a email to the planning board. You said you don't have a date right now?
We're scheduled to go May 3rd, so
May
that's the
3rd.
next.
Okay, we'll get it out this week anyhow,
Okay.
so they'll have it.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate
you.
it.
All right. All right, that's all we had for statutory advisory business. So that takes us to new business. Really, the only item we have there is the lamination request for Horse Hill. And I think, did everyone get one of these? Maybe, no, probably not, because I have them all. Yeah, that's an indication.
Is that
No,
for
you
the-
didn't get them.
That's for, is that for the kiosk?
Yeah,
I think I have one of those.
it's just,
Wow.
so,
That's a lot of money.
Man, it's got expensive. Holy crap.
We went to school.
Huh?
The school kiosk needs one.
Yeah.
Greater Woods.
Yeah, it's just gotten expensive. No, I know, I'm not complaining. I know, Mike, this is, I'm. Yeah.
And thank you for you went and got the quote and all that.
Yes, I did.
Thank you for doing all that legwork. So I handed out all the copies. What was the grand total?
174. And we wanna make sure we're not using Plexi. This is good, it's Lexium, at least it's gonna be strong.
Mm-hmm. Is
That
that what we?
research, right?
Huh? Yeah.
That's exactly right, yep. It's actually, they sell 4 grades of materials that are that size. The most expensive one is $239 for the 4x8 sheet, which we need one full sheet because of the size of the kiosk. The other one is $196. There is one cheaper than this, but it's really the budget grade one. The budget grade, and it's acrylic, it's polycarbonate, so it's not,
Yeah.
we want Lexington polycarbonate, we don't want acrylic.
Are they gonna cut it?
I'm just gonna ask.
No, the guy said they don't cut it.
Uh-huh.
I gotta cut it myself, my fingers crossed, sharp blade, steady hand.
Did
He
you,
said they don't cut it.
did you price out Marvell? Did you get a price from Marvell? They do Lexon too. The glass place?
Oh, no, I went to Reed's, they didn't have large enough stock.
Okay, because I know,
So
I
it's like Home
know
Depot.
Marvell has it. It will be expensive, but they would cut it for you.
Yeah. I feel confident cutting, I don't have a problem
Okay.
cutting it.
All right.
More likely to break it, bringing it home in the truck, but
I-
I got a truck for that, so.
I know when I had a piece of acrylic, they had a sheet on it, like a piece of plastic or something that was adhesive, and they cut it through the adhesive so the whole thing didn't splinter.
Yeah, it comes with
It
a
comes-
protective wrap on it,
All
yeah.
right,
with a
so,
wrap on
yeah, cut it with the wrap.
So you got a single 4x8 sheet, are you gonna be able to do both sides? Are you trying to do both sides?
There
or
were
just
two,
one?
two kiosks, they only have one side, they're
Yeah,
one-sided signs.
okay.
The one at Bowman and the main one. The other two are fine.
Okay.
The other two are fine.
Yeah, that one at the Bowman's been bad for years.
Yeah, it gets direct sunlight there, but, and it's like, yeah.
We've
everything
talked
was
about it
size.
for years, like Matt, I think was
Yeah.
gonna have stuff, and then it's like, so thank you for
Yeah,
following.
yeah, so we'll take care of that one. And then with a group, we'll get together and redo all the postings inside.
When we approved it, does it have, are we writing a check to these guys, or have you already done this, or is it, no? Okay, this
No,
is
no,
just
no, it's following the process. Do you guys know the process?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope
Which
somebody
way-
knows the process.
I guess which way would you prefer to do it? to purchase it and get reimbursed, or wait for us to
No,
get a
no,
check
no,
cut?
no reimbursement.
Get the check cut.
No, the town's gotta prepay, and then once they prepay,
Is that
I'll
what
go
we're
down
doing?
there with this, and it'll show it's
Yeah.
paid,
Okay.
Yeah, they have an account with Home Depot.
and I'll pick
Okay.
it up. Yeah, the guy knew what to do. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to go to the pro desk, he knew what to do.
Yep. You get the parking, the special parking now.
I do that anyway.
Eric or Ellen, do you want the honors of making the motion?
You were at the last meeting, so you should probably.
Well, I can't vote tonight, but can I make motions?
Absolutely, right?
Okay, I,
I
I don't know.
don't think so.
no?
We've never crossed that bridge.
I doubt, nothing personal, but if you're not voting,
You lost your
Yeah.
vote.
Eric,
Perhaps you're right.
it's up to you.
Yeah, I'll just do it.
You want
Yeah,
my cheat
I
sheet
need,
or?
I need something to read off of.
okay, just let it rip, we'll go, we'll get it.
We'll critique.
So this is a single 4x8 sheet, and we're cutting it, so, all right.
Yeah, I need like a 42 by 46 and a 42 by 41 or
Yeah,
something
all right.
like that.
So you need 2 cuts?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
maybe 3, depends how tricky I am.
Well, no, I spend a ton of time at hardware stores, so I was thinking there's probably a couple places we can check and see if they do it.
I can cut it.
No, I'm not for this time, but just in the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hopefully it'll be someone else's problem in 10 years. I won't be having to do this.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve $174 for Mark Gagnon of the HHN Horse Hill Nature Preserve Subcommittee to purchase a 48-inch by 96-inch times 3 1/16 inch sheet of Lexan GP polycarbonate for the Horse Hill Nature Preserve kiosk from Fund 53.
Second.
You say the
Motion.
amount? Oh.
Yes.
Motion by Eric,
Oh.
second by Gage. Does anyone need further discussion on this item?
The only thing I would add is I would request in the future that we spell out more details in the agenda item. It goes back to that sniff test that Paul talked about. The public should be able to look at the agenda item and know exactly what we're gonna
What we're
do.
gonna-
This agenda item just says, lamination request. It doesn't say approve expenditure of funds or anything. And so I'd just say in the future, if we could put more detail in there, I think
That's a good point.
it would be more transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yep. We can do that. And does anyone feel like that this might raise to the level of something we should put on the next agenda and revote?
No.
All right. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion carries 7-0. Well, thank you for doing the research and
No problem.
getting the quote and
problem.
doing the work.
Was there another thing on there? Something else about, there was something else about lamination. I didn't think there was a cost thing on that. Okay, you guys know, there was nothing else. Okay,
It was something that Christine had asked for QR codes.
that's what it was.
Yeah, but I don't have much more. I
She was-
have an email thread.
She was working
So-
with Stephanie. I don't know if they were able to do that at the town here or not. I'll check with Christine this week.
I don't know if Town Hall has it. I know the middle school has one, but
Okay.
there it is.
Oh, you think you might need it?
I don't think so. No,
Mm.
I have it electronically.
We have, the QR codes are already done.
I have the QR code right here, I'm not sure.
It's about making up a sign, explaining what to do, posting them several places around the site, so that people don't have to keep taking maps needlessly.
Yeah.
Or also like a "You Are Here" thing. So Christine was coming up, I'm not sure how many she came up with, like a little thing that's laminate the whole thing.
Yeah, all,
Yeah,
We
we're not reinventing the QR code.
no,
yeah.
I'm just saying, we had some made.
Never seen.
Paper graphics made some on that same.
I thought they were on the
phone
map.
There was
They're on the map.
Yeah, well, no, but they made some just QR codes for us, and they were on the same foam core.
Were they sticky?
No, we're just, they're on the same foam core that the maps were printed on.
Yeah, they were on there because when you have the big
Yeah,
map
but-
and
Oh,
the
it's on
kiosk,
the-
it's
it's
right
on
on there.
kiosk.
Yeah, it's right on there.
Yeah, there's one or two, there's a large map, but not
Yeah.
everywhere. There's only,
No, I'm saying, but we had some printed, so I went and picked them up. Right, I have to dig for them somewhere.
there's nothing I got in my box of hand-me-downs from
Yeah, I thought we gave those
From
out to-
Peter.
Yeah. That would be-
Well, thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you.
Before you go, Mark, so I'll have Stephanie contact Home Depot, send them, how do you want to do this?
I thought she had to go through, I don't know, Paul or somebody in
Okay.
administration to get the check cut,
Okay,
and then they just,
but if we
they'll
have an
send it.
account,
They'll send it directly. It's not really an account.
okay.
Like, it's not a charge account. I think it's
Okay.
gotta get prepaid, just like if you or I went there. They're looking for a check or a credit card or something.
Who's this through?
Home Depot.
Oh, this is the
See?
same.
Cause I said to him
Town.
specifically what it was for, but he still put my name on it instead of a town account, so.
So Stephanie should make a check payable to Home Depot and
Yes.
you will pick it up?
Yeah,
Is that
they'll submit the check there and it'll show it's paid, then.
Okay.
Once I know that, if someone tells me
I didn't
that,
have to do that.
I'll go down there and it'll show in the system is paid. Then they'll just let me pick it up. They'll basically take this and they'll endorse it with a cash register receipt on the,
Okay,
on there.
Maybe something's changed, I didn't have to do any of this here,
okay, so we'll be in touch with you once it's.
Yeah, I mean, depending how long it takes, I'm gonna be out of town for a few weeks there coming up, so.
Okay.
I may ask somebody to pick it up, maybe Christine, her husband, maybe can pick it up, my next door neighbors anyway, maybe they can pick it up.
so. Yeah, if you just let us know, I mean, I'm in there every weekend.
Would you cut it for me too? And cut my grass while I'm gone, all that stuff?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, that takes us to old business. First item we have on old business is, we were gonna revisit the proposed meeting schedule, and again, I think everyone knows this was done, primarily in order to get us in the bigger room where the audio, visual support is better. It's more conducive to taking the minutes and so forth. One thing I wish I had researched is what day does anyone see any objections, I guess, or any problems with the proposed schedule?
No.
To what day did we post the public hearing for?
It wasn't it for the,
We
wait a minute,
told
wasn't it the
Tim,
18th?
we told Tim the second meeting in April, but.
Yeah, so that's the 18th. That's the 18th.
And the posting requirement was 21 days, so it's already
Yeah,
been
so she
posted?
she was supposed to post it on the 4th, which is today.
Right, so
She-
if everyone can move it to the
So she
20
posted it for the 25th.
Oh, she did? Okay,
It was 21 days.
okay.
No. So she already posted it for the new proposed dates,
Mhm.
so we have to approve this.
Yeah, yeah, and it has to take place now.
And we have to make sure Tim's available.
Also, the next meeting.
Tim was available, and
Okay.
Tim watched our meeting, so he knew that we were already looking at pushing it to the second.
But I
Sorry.
mean, does he know it's the 25th versus the 18th?
He does.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
so starting, it's gonna be the 25th or next meeting?
Mhm.
Oh.
For the chapter 111 hearing.
Yeah, I won't be here.
You'll be on. Does anyone else have a conflict they know of?
Oh, I'm sorry, which day?
April
25th.
25th?
Yeah, I won't be here. But I wouldn't be here on the 18th either, so.
All right. Anyone else?
You get to vote then now.
For sure.
And I don't know that this is necessarily something we need to vote on. We don't usually vote on the meeting schedule, right? Just get a consensus.
Yeah. We all just agree to it, I guess, yeah.
All right.
Because we picked the days,
Mhm.
Andy swapped them around when we used to be this, we swapped back to the second and fourth or whatever it was.
All right.
That was a long time ago.
We will, we'll get this posted on the website, and effective for the next meeting, we'll move to second and fourth Mondays of the month?
Okay, but we won't have a meeting on April 11th then.
18th, you mean?
No.
Oh, the
Okay.
11th.
No meeting on the 11th, no meeting on the 18th. The next meeting will be the 25th, and that will be the one with the public hearing for Chapter 111. All right, so that will require activity tomorrow. All right, and the next item, under old business, is review the discussion that we had on last Tuesday with Fish and Game. So we did the site visit down there. It was largely two parts. The first part was the visit with Fish and Game to really specifically address options and get feedback on the boat ramp. Garrett Groskamp, who is the director of the Fish and Game boat ramp rehabilitation program, was there. The town manager, Paul McCallie, was there. Kyle Fox was there. And it was incredibly informative. Everyone's got a copy of those notes in their packet, but for those of you that weren't there, I guess some of the highlights that weren't in those notes. One, that Fish and Game knew the site very well. They're extremely familiar with it. It's been one they've looked at. They actually, he estimated at the beginning of our meeting, Garrett did, he said basically it's a medium-sized lake if you really calculate the square footage from the rapids in Nashua up to the dam, and base that on an average width of like 300 or 350 feet. It's a significant body of water with no boat ramp access right now. But he was also very candid about the limitation that we have here, and that is, there's not access. You can't get a 16-foot boat down to that ramp. And, Fish and Game is funded. I mean, there's a program, but it's funded from the registrations of power boats. So he said it would feel somewhat disingenuous to build that sort of ramp if it only really accommodates
support.
people with canoes and rowboats and small boats and that sort of thing. I forget the gentleman's name. Do you remember? The one that owned the parcel adjacent?
Was Lenny representing? Lenny Worcester.
Worcester.
He was there and as a member of the public, and he spoke a little bit about, they felt maybe a little disenfranchised, but last time there was work down there, there was an agreement to open a breach in his berm there and use that to get access there for construction equipment and so forth, but it perhaps wasn't done as well as it could have been, where that berm was missing for a length of time. It was pretty clear, I think, to all of us that Fish and Game is not going to make that sort of an investment in that ramp unless there's a different sort of access there. So, so I think at this time, if there is a next step, that's probably the next step, to start talking to that neighbor. It's obviously not something that we would do overnight, but to continue to develop that relationship and see if there is an appetite to, if we wanted to make to ask for an easement or purchase, or something like that.
Subdivide and purchase piece.
Mm-hmm. Subdivide and purchase. What else? There was, a lot of us were there. What other details
Is
am I
Trans
missing?
Am being sold, right?
Hmm?
Trans Am's being sold, aren't they?
Pan Am?
Pan Am?
Is it Pan Am selling or in CSX buying or the other way around?
That's sorry. Just was dealing with it. Pan Am, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how long an acquisition, I don't even know if it's gonna impact that line, will it? That's a B&M line, right?
No.
That's a Pan Am line?
That's Pan Am. Because that's the only other crossing is up at Star Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
Mhm.
open. But
Kyle Fox asked the question, and it's in the notes, but in case you saw it and didn't know what it meant, he just asked about, are there strings attached? And Fish and Game was pretty transparent. They said yes. There's federal matching funds that go along with these sorts of projects. So if we were to convince Fish and Game to make that sort of investment here with the federal matching funds, it would, how did he put it? It was similar to a
The
problem we
strings
had at
become
Watson
ropes,
Park.
is how he put
I
it.
think so.
The
Yes,
strings
he
become
did.
ropes.
The strings become ropes, and just in terms of our ability as a town or a commission to govern the sorts of things, and in this case, it would be the town, because it's really their ramp, to govern the sorts of things that happen down there.
Yep. we
And this is a
lose-
problem we ran into recently with
With
Watson
Watson.
Park.
Yeah, we will limit our control of the ramp and access to it, so we no longer have any say. If we need to close that for any reason, we want to close it, the problems that we had at Watson, we can't do it, so.
Fish and Game also indicated that it's probably a one-time deal for a permit for quite a while. Like, so in other words, if we're gonna do something, make sure it's what we wanna do, because, DES is probably gonna issue, one permit, and they're not gonna, like, if you wanna do another one
Yeah.
5 years later, no.
Yeah.
Mike brings up a good point, and that was specifically tied to the depth there. They had concern, they said ideally, water depth at the end of your ramp is 3 to 4 feet. Yeah, absolute 2 at a minimum, but 3 to 4 feet. He said, just based on, the other side's obviously the deep side, that's where the current is. He said, the one risk you run with a ramp like this is that you build it, you can dredge once to build it, and DES will issue a permit to do that, but they will not issue a permit to re-dredge it if silt and so forth and other things collect there. He said that site was potentially at risk of having, if there were a rebuilt boat ramp there, of having that problem. And I guess it makes sense. DES doesn't want you to continue
Right.
to redig and redisturb river bottom sediment.
So if people are putting in like kayaks and canoes, do they really need to get their vehicle down into the water?
No.
I mean, I just have to wonder, like, we've spent a lot of time looking into options, which is good, to see what we can do, but it just doesn't really feel like there's gonna be an easy answer. I don't feel like we're really focusing on the actual property, which is what we bought it for. I thought, I feel like it's, like, I wanna focus more on the conservation, like, I don't really think it's in our mission to allow motorboats or to spend our money to allow motorboats to get into the water. We want to protect the water, so I'd rather not have anything motorized near there. And with the access issues, I mean, that's the reason we got the properties, because nobody can get to it, right?
Right.
That's the only reason
That's a great point.
that we got it at that amount of money. And I'd rather just keep it, like it is, a conservation property, with somewhat minimal traffic. You don't want to have half the town going down there. I just feel like there's a lot of work in that property, and I'd rather start to focus more on the other areas and kind of make a decision what, if anything, we're going to do. And obviously it's not even ours, because it's the town's property. If the town wants to do something and, I don't know, come to us with a proposal, but I still think we ought to stop vehicles from going into the water, because it's just destroying the area right there. If the water's not deep enough, it's not deep enough. Anyway, I mean, to think about us, the Conservation Commission, getting a dredge permit, it just sounds like, eesh. But
Well,
that's just my,
and that would be-
that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, that would all be, if Fish and Game weren't gonna make that kind of investment there, those are the sorts of, they would get
Right.
those permits. But they don't do a ton of these in a year anyhow. This site would be one that, and if I'm misrepresenting it, I mean, if someone remembers him saying it differently, I think he said this would definitely be one they would be interested in because of the square feet of water that this would allow access to, but they really don't have any interest unless there's improved access. What else? Someone else that was there, a detail I left out specifically to the boat ramp?
Kind of to Cindy's same point, even if that boat ramp becomes a ramp that's big enough and the access to it is the road, getting around that corner and getting down that hill is not, that's gotta get fixed too. And this is a project that snowballs and snowballs and snowballs. It's not gonna be an easy fix.
Well, and when you stop and think about how many boats would actually go in there, you know, it's not, in my opinion, a big enough place to have, 10 or 20 boats a day. Where are you gonna put, I mean, there's parking there, but not for 10 or 20 boat trailers and pickup trucks.
You make a good ramp and good access, you'd be surprised how many show up.
Yeah, but where are they gonna park? That's the problem.
Where are they gonna go?
Well, exactly.
and
So,
down.
so to put
As fast as
that
they can.
kind of money into it,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it's gonna be worthwhile for the amount of boats that we would be able to safely accommodate. And to also have the conservation aspect of it where people could go down and enjoy the woods. You're gonna have all of these people, with the boats and the trailers and the pickup trucks and the noise and, it just doesn't seem like the two really go hand in hand. You're looking at each other.
No,
What did I
No,
just
no.
say?
No,
No.
not at all.
Okay.
We did ask the question, and it was fruitful, the visit, because we were able to bounce some of these other ideas that we have had and talked about here off him. We did ask about temporary boat ramps. He wasn't specifically familiar with the one we talked about. He did mention some, what Fish and Game likes to do when they build these boat ramps is they used to, what were the 9-inch thick, basically 12-foot wide, 3-foot in diameter concrete slabs. That way they can kind of build a track system, lower them in and anchor them in place. That's pretty much really all what they have an appetite for doing right now because it's worked. He did say they've used some other things like mesh aggregate bags where you kind of put them in and, like a sandbag, but you're filling it with
Stone.
3-inch stone or 2-inch stone instead and something like that. But I got the sense, and maybe someone else tell me if you got the same sense that they're shying away from that sort of thing in a river that has a current like this.
Right.
And the example he used, he says, you have another, or you used to have another boat ramp in town that had terrible access, and it's now gone. It washed away.
Yep.
The one at the Reed's Ferry site.
Right.
And I didn't even know that. He knew
Depot
that.
Street?
Depot
Depot
Street.
Street.
I haven't even been down there, but he said it's basically non-existent now.
Yeah.
And that was concrete. I don't know what the diameter of those.
Well, they have the Greeley Street boat ramp, so,
Mhm.
I mean, it seems like that's better.
Which was a fishing game project.
Right.
People
So-
told Mike and I at the Winter Carnival that that's beautiful now.
Yeah, and it's really not that far from Sklar, so I don't really see why people would have a problem driving 5 miles down the road to use it. So, you'd have more parking, you'd have better access, use that one. I mean, you can't get up to this part of the river, from what I understand, but river's river.
Any other details, anyone, questions? Again, thank you ladies for doing those minutes, those were fantastic, and I know that was tough, I felt for you, it was cold that day, and all of us were wearing gloves, except for the people taking the
No,
minutes.
actually, I had on 2 pairs of gloves and I
You did
still
it
took
with gloves.
notes.
That was impressive. So that kind of dovetails into our next agenda item, which is really, thank you for the subcommittee and so forth. We put together these plans, and we had an opportunity kind of to go down there and walk some of these different areas. I don't know, where do we want to, one of you want to start the discussion on
We'll
that?
start with going over the presentation and go from there.
All right, floor is yours.
All right. So, when we were told or asked to do a property plan, we immediately scheduled a meeting every other week since then. And we've met for at least 2 hours every time. And we discuss things such as the plans we want to do, when we want to do them. We put together this. Anita Krieger's been a great help with the history. Litchfield has sent us information and pictures, such as this one on the 3rd page here. This is from their Historical Society. This does not have the plans for each project yet. At our last meeting, we started ordering them in 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and so on. And we haven't finalized it, so it's not included in this version. Now, Anita and everyone else believes that the boat launch is the site of Thornton's Ferry. We have a history about it on this page here. It has a timeline on the bottom. I wish we numbered these pages, I didn't even think about it. But basically, it's been used since 1766 as a launch for boats. And I'm not sure what happened after 1899, but at some point, you know, Patterson paved it and improved it. Dana Patterson is the one that formerly owned New England Pole next door. And that's where the town bought that property that the flying field is on from. So he owned the road and he owned the flying field area. There is a bridge there. We can't figure out when it was built. We just know it's older than the town's bridge that they built next to it. It's been improved with concrete on top and I think culverts on the bottom. I don't think those are original. It is, you could get a vehicle over it. It'd be really tight.
Small one.
I wouldn't do it, but it's possible. It's strong enough to hold up a DPW backhoe because they used it as a way to pull stuff out of the culverts. Right now, the ramp is caving in that they put a tree down and then they put some clay soil over it, and now it's being washed down around the tree. It has to be fixed. My foot went through it, so. That was according to historical record, it was the site of a battle between Native Americans and the colonists. A couple colonists got kidnapped by the natives, according to the record, and were brought up north from the Nashua area. Their buddies pursued their captors, and they met at the crossing of the Natticook on the way to the ferry. That's where that bridge is. So I'm putting two and two together here, because that's Natticook Brook. The ferry is right over there. But 9 of them died, 1 lived, so that's how we know. I don't know if they rescued their friend. Current uses for the property include dog walking. That's probably the most popular one. There's a lot of people that walk their dogs every day. People hike the trails. There's some mountain bikers. Mountain bikers, I've never seen them on the near the river where the ferry is. They're always on the Eagle Bluff side of it. There's a what's it called? There's a company that does trainings down there for the scanning of the ground, what's underneath it. You know what I'm talking about? with the machine, they roll over the ground and it maps what's underneath.
Oh.
Specific
Where
company,
do they
but-
do that, by the river?
They do it on the flying fields field
Oh.
area. They probably don't have permission, but they said they've always done it there. There's a guy that does scuba diving in the Marymack River. He has a paddle board with a air compressor mounted on it and a tube going from that to his mouth. No filter. But he's found some cool things, bottles and stuff. Flying Club has its lease there. From what I understand, it's just in the minutes of the town council. It doesn't have a written agreement. There's no terms and there's no expiration. And it was for $1. So, hopefully they have some sort of written agreement in the near future. The property does have bald eagles on it. I don't know if they live there. I've been trying to find their nests, but they do fly over quite often. We all know that the entrance is bad. Town manager Paul McCallie said that the plan was to expand that entrance area, the bridge, if they upgrade for the community, the rail,
Oh, the commuter rail.
commuter rail. So if it goes through, they'll probably do that, which would be great for us. But the railroad has no interest in touching it otherwise. The turn-in, you all know, is really bad. There's one tree in the corner that would be really helpful to get rid of. Just kind of making it less hostile. Right now, a lot of people have to drive onto the other property and come over, and
So the DPW's estimate was 75,000 to improve that
I think that
turn?
was just a number that was thrown out.
Yeah.
And what was that to improve?
The
The
turn.
turn-in, like,
Oh.
cut that, you know how you have to go like this.
Up at the
then
main
down like
road.
this, they'll take the tree out and,
Just make it wider.
yeah, make it wider.
Pave it.
Still be a steep, but, yeah.
Wow.
But the property is clean.
So-
This year, we've put signs up for the trails. It's been cleaned more. The road was improved by DPW some time ago.
So
That's,
is the Matthew Thornton Trail or the Heron Trail parking area, is one of those the lower road by the river? Is that considered to be a parking area?
the Matthew Thornton launch area, whatever
Is
it's.
that the one?
The Eagle Bluff Trail, I'm going to assume it's the one right when you go in, next to that sign.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about the,
Uh,
by the river.
All right, I got it. All right. The Heron Trail is the, the Heron Trail, I'm gonna say, is the, boat launch area, cause this is the brush that's right next to the boat launch. And this is the Fair Trail. This is my mistake. I should have removed this. I clarified at our last meeting that that's gonna be revegetated, that area, and is not gonna be a parking area. This is just before the bridge, behind the kiosk.
Okay, I guess my point is,
Yes.
by the river, is there, are you considering two parking areas or one parking area?
I'm not quite sure about that. I'll clarify and get back to
All
you.
right.
But there's only supposed to be one by the river, and that's the one that exists currently. We would like to pretty it up.
That's the Heron Trail parking?
Where's the Heron Trail?
That's the one that's down by the river, 'cause that's the,
Not-
that's the
not
water
really.
right there.
It changed to Riverview Trail, but, you know,
I don't think it's represented here.
Okay.
it's gonna be updated. But we do plan on prettying up that area, planting bushes along the ridge around it and, you know, just making it not look like a gravel pit.
Has anyone walked that GIS? Just walked those trails?
We're waiting until we have a solid idea of what trails are gonna be, you know, permanent.
Yeah,
I don't wanna drag them down and then ask them to
No,
come
you just do it
again.
with your phone. Just turn that GPS on and just walk.
oh, he's talking,
You can do that? I was
Like we
gonna,
did
I was
with the,
thinking
LSIP walk.
NRPC.
Well, yeah, I mean, when,
I say
when
we,
when
you.
we get to an official map, but for right now, I mean.
yeah. I think you guys are, the river trail? No. I think that you guys already have an idea of two trails down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
And there's two trails up high, the Eagle and the Ferry
Yeah.
Trail are up high.
once we have, we'll do that. We'll GPS it and bring it here for approval.
Cause we have
and
like a
then-
map wizard over here.
Huh?
We have a map wizard over here.
Yeah, I mean, I could, I'm actually on vacation right now, so I could, one of these days, just go down and just walk the area and, you know, and get the GPS and GIS locations.
Yeah,
and
let me
the
know,
trails.
let me know when you wanna do it now. I'll go down. Alright, so the ecology of the property is being worked on. We couldn't tell what was down there because there was snow covering it when we were working on this, so it will be updated. It's quite a diverse amount of plants down there. The majority of the right side of the road is silver maples. On the left side of the road is a mixture of something else. I've been trying to identify it. It starts at the base and then it just offshoots a whole bunch of
Russian
different-
olive.
Olive?
Russian olive, I think it's called.
Probably that.
It's got the
Can you
really
eat
silver
those?
leaves in the spring and
It
summer.
does get berries, right?
Some of them
Okay,
do, yeah.
Can you eat them?
I wouldn't eat them. And it's, I don't know if it's invasive or not, but man, it grows.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, it's a, quite
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
yeah.
They're spaced out though, so. Yes, on this page, it shows what we've identified so far. This is putting our eyes on it, so it's not guesses.
Is there references to the Marymack River without the K as a historical?
I thought there was one.
I'm just curious, I mean, because it's in here a couple times without the K, I'd like to know if that was like historical, if that's part of the way it was
It's a
spelled.
typo.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, there were times when there was no K. And I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to go way back, it was Marymack, 2 words, but.
Right,
So, you know, it might be a typo, but there was also, you can't just say it's historical and just,
I
yeah.
wonder if the river was named
And I don't-
Marymack at the beginning, or Marymack.
I don't want to
Those mistakes were-
shortchange this discussion, but I
well,
know
no,
that
that's what I'm curious, if
Yeah,
it was
that's what I
part of the
was thinking.
considered,
a thing, the, kind of the items that we probably should talk about, focus on here, the ones that catalyzed the most discussion when we were down there. I think there were 5. One was, vehicle use and the boulder placement. And the subcommittee did a great job. They made 3 plans, which was more above and beyond what we asked them to do, but there wasn't consensus on where those boulders should go. Another one was the cutting. A lot of us noticed there is a lot of cutting down there. It's maybe beyond cutting, it's, at this point, maybe harvesting or foresting. Was there more today? And just mud was another one?
In what part? Where are they cutting?
You're talking about the trees they cut last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a
somebody-
lot, even
somebody
on the
just
way
cut-
in.
Alright, so there was a police report made, Officer McNeil, just so you all know. So Dave Trippett went down, he saw these guys cutting trees. About 25 years old, one black, one white, black truck. He got the plate number, asked what they were doing. They said they were cutting trees for a bonfire. Makes no sense because they were live trees.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
It was right by the road, and they cut 7 of them. 2 of them are large enough to be of value.
This
They
is
left.
this is on the Scalar property, not the.
Yes,
not-
on the
not-
south
not
side.
Flying Eagle, okay.
They left 3 of them, I believe, because they probably couldn't fit it in their newly bought truck. So we got their information, and the police are, police are handling it. They're trying to contact them. They've left messages, but no response. So if you guys want to refer it to whoever takes care of that at the next level, I don't know.
That was a report made with the town?
It was made with the police department.
Yeah, you gotta go through community development, let Tim Thompson know.
Tim Thompson.
Yeah, community development.
And I'm not suggesting that's an issue we're gonna solve here, I just thought that was one
No,
of the,
yeah, but
one of the topics that we ran into that reared its ugly face as we did the whole 30-minute walk
Plus-
down there. And it kind of relates to another issue that we should decide on tonight, is that the Flying Eagles, well, they have permission to cut trees on town property, but they've also asked us to allow them to remove, I didn't count them, but there were a bunch more trees in the southern, that notch, we keep calling it the notch, the area near the bridge.
Which some has been cut already, like half.
Yeah, last October, last November.
They were cut without permission.
And they've been fabulous neighbors. I think we'll all, no one would
Did
disagree.
they do it, or did someone else?
They
We don't
said
really
they
know.
did.
Oh.
Yeah,
They've been fabulous neighbors. I just, one, it looks horrible now, right? We spent some time in there. And 2, when you start, I guess it ties back to the deed too, and you two
Right.
helped
Yeah.
helped craft this. I don't know, how do we feel about?
yeah, I thought we decided, no cutting on the south side anymore. I mean, they're gonna wipe out quite an area next to the field on the town side. It looks like. We looked
Yeah.
at the markings just today.
About a quarter of the trees.
Like, it's gonna be pretty brutal, it looks like.
If you're looking down the runway over there on the right,
Um,
Got
So if
it.
you're going
So-
down the dirt road,
yeah,
and then you look that way at their field, it's like,
that whole, yeah, that's still, their runway's here, the road goes around, it's just this whole
alright,
section.
so once you cross the bridge,
Yeah.
and you're going straight about quarter of the way, all those trees on that side,
Yeah,
yeah,
all the way to the road.
all the ones
So if you-
east of the field,
so if you go back, that used to be flat.
yeah, years ago.
It was already flat, so,
Yeah,
not that I'm an advocate for cutting it, but I'm saying it's,
Yeah,
it was flat at one time, it was farmland.
yeah, and their lease is, pretty unrestricted, so.
Well, still, I think they'd have to get the permission from the town to do that,
they
right?
did.
They got
They
permission.
came before the council.
Okay, so they've got, you guys have approved it, and so it's a
Mhm.
moot point.
I think more what it's for us to decide is that area. So as soon as if you're entering Scalar, as soon as you pull under the bridge, it's that area immediately on
Yeah.
the right.
Which is,
Which is in line with the runway, and that's why the tall trees there, why they would rather not have them be there.
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
But I think we accepted that property in pretty generous terms.
Yeah.
And it had some pretty I don't know if these were standard conservation restrictions in a conservation deed, but they were pretty specific about
Yeah.
what purposes, for minimizing the risk of forest fire and maybe a few other, but
Not flying planes?
No.
that actually specifically mentioned that, which I thought was strange. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought we decided that we weren't gonna let them cut anymore
Yeah.
Mhm.
on the south
That's what
side.
I spoke to the president of the club, who was super nice, explained why it is they had these. I told him you can't do anything until we meet here.
Yeah. No, that was one of the restrictions from the Scholars
Yeah,
themselves.
so,
Mhm.
you want a motion, like, not to allow cutting on the Scholar south side of the road?
I mean, I think if it's in the
It's in
deed.
the
It's in the
deed.
deed.
I
Yeah.
don't think we
Yeah.
need a motion. I think
No.
that's-
You're-
is
I was
what it
just
is.
trying to
Yeah.
double
Unless
cover
someone
it.
interprets this differently, which
Yeah. Yeah.
it seemed
All right.
pretty, okay.
Aircraft
I don't know
landing
if it's
area,
within
I don't
the
think there's
authority
any,
of the Conservation Commission to
Yeah.
do it anyway, so why would you make a motion?
Right.
aircraft,
It's
aircraft
not.
landing area, I think that's pretty explicit.
Yeah,
I think the cutting in general down at Squire has been kind of loosey-goosey, so I think maybe we need to, define what needs to be cut, because going down there today, it seems like there's a lot less trees down there than when
So
we first
we-
went down.
Gina and I took the orange flagging off the trees on the south side of the road today. So they wouldn't be confused if
Mhm.
DPW went down there, as trees to be cut.
yeah.
So, not on the north side, on the south, on the
No.
south side.
Okay. So if you took it down, who put it up?
I asked him to mark
Yeah.
them, because
Okay,
I
alright.
spoke to him, and
Okay.
he said, I said, we're gonna be down there for a site visit, this, whatever the date
Okay.
was this past. I said, you mark what you're
Yes.
talking about with ribbon, not paint, and they did that. So I'll take it as an action item and follow up with him tomorrow and let him know why, respectfully, why we're uncomfortable with continued clearing on the south side.
It says right here, there shall not be conducted on or in the property any business, industrial, or commercial activities except necessary forestry to maintain the area or reduce potential forest fires.
Who's determining what's necessary, though?
I think we're all agreeing. right?
Necessary.
No, that's
it.
the timber plan,
That's
that would
not
be the
for
forestry
anybody.
plan.
Anybody
But
but
where's
us.
the forest plan? Because right
We
now,
don't
this-
have one.
We don't-
okay,
there is-
because right now, the subcommittee's just down there saying, this tree, this tree, this tree.
No, we're
But
not.
the subcommittee is not professional tree things, so maybe what we need to do is get UNH Co-op down there and do a site walk with them like we did with,
We still have a forester, we still use Bay State,
Mhm.
so we can call them in at any time, and we can walk through there and, start generating a forestry plan. And the forestry plan may be, don't touch it,
okay, but
but that's the plan.
I think that should be something that, like what we did with
Yeah.
the boat ramp, that everybody can go
Mhm.
to it.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do it on a
Cause,
warmer
'cause it would
day.
be, they'll go through and walk the site, ID the species of trees,
Mhm.
the groves, and,
Yep.
what kind of settlements
Mhm.
they are, and then what we should be doing with it long term.
Yep.
Cause that's all floodplain, so that's a very interesting,
Mm.
Yes, all those, silver maples.
a lot of silver maple, you're gonna get a lot of,
And the end of the river,
yeah,
Mhm.
stopping the soil from washing away.
yeah.
All right, continuing. Now, I'll finish up with the first year plan. So far, we have mostly eliminated off-roading. We have had a problem where they eventually move the rocks and they go over, but thanks to Dave Webb for
You gotta get more rocks.
donating those
In the
very
town?
large rocks. DPW came and delivered it. So on the 9th, we will move those into place and there will hopefully be no more off-roading. We will move 2 rocks over to the left side of the boat launch to block off that way.
As you're headed toward the river.
So you're standing on the boat launch and you look to your left, that path, so that'll be blocked off. Someone was driving there yesterday.
Going over to Worcester's property.
No, driving, well,
North.
yeah, but.
If you're on
kinda
the, if you're on the,
north side of
if
it.
you're on the, if you're on the boat ramp and you're going left, that's Lenny's property.
Yeah, eventually, but it's
Yeah.
a strip of town land
Yeah.
that goes pretty far.
So
And
the
there-
town's okay with us blocking that off?
We haven't seemed to have any problem with it.
Haven't been approached by it.
Okay, so
Well, if they
And-
want people driving along the river,
it's not our property.
all right.
So it's like going to mowing your neighbor's lawn, maybe a nice thing to do, but it's not yours. Don't touch it. So do we need to come up
Someone
with?
needs to contact Paul and
And just-
take it up with him. If he needs to come before the council, then he'll come before the council.
I can do that tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll reach out.
Be a
He knows exactly what we're talking about, because we're pointing at the no motorized vehicle sign
Yeah.
there, but I,
Because
Paul is the guy
that was one of the places, there was a pole there, right? And that's the one they broke.
yeah. The pole's over leaning near a tree.
Yeah,
I wonder if we got permission for that sign.
we did.
So it's basically understanding. All right.
But if we're gonna put rocks there, we should
Yeah,
ask that
that's,
first.
yeah.
The subcommittee, moving on, the subcommittee voted in November to move the rocks to where that brush pile is. They voted on it. Before we had any of these plans, that's where they decided was the best place to use the least amount of rocks to get the job done.
So, so this vote was to move rocks to stop motor vehicle access in an interim time before the plans were made. So until solid plans were made, this vote was to stop motor vehicle access into the other part of the property,
Just
south
going,
part of the
going
property.
south.
Yeah.
Those
But now we have other plans in place that could supersede those rocks. In other words, we could still put those rocks there, but we may not need them.
And I think that's the hitch, right? Where do we think those
Yeah.
rocks should be
Yes,
placed?
that's where it should go.
Should they be placed, is there anyone not familiar with the parcel? So the boat ramp, should they be placed immediately at the boat ramp so that no one can park in those areas? Should they be parked
You mean,
So,
well, again, the boat ramp is,
town land?
Town
Yeah,
land.
no, we're talking about immediately south of the boat ramp.
okay, so if you were standing on the boat ramp and that's almost like a road that goes down along the
You'd
shore.
have to go about
Mhm.
10
Right.
feet down the road.
Yeah.
it's along the shoreline
Yeah.
Mhm.
there. Right.
It used to be 10 feet. I think now that road is probably more than 10 feet.
That road is a couple
Hundreds.
hundred.
A couple of
Talk
hundred
about
feet.
where the rock would be.
Which no one is in favor of the length of the road now.
So we need to decide, in the parking lot now, I don't know if you've been down there lately, but the parking area, which used to be like a dirt
Yeah.
turnaround, it's huge. There's a big parking area there.
How much bigger can it get?
It's pretty big.
It's
It's not too-
enormous.
What
The
would you
thing is
say?
enormous.
100 feet? 100 feet by 100
It's just for
feet?
people down there doing donuts and stuff?
No, no.
No, it was graded
Oh.
with the backhoe.
Right.
Is this the,
It was, it's not, our picture's not in there. Oh, is that?
that's the trail running north from the boat ramp?
Yeah.
along the river.
2 trees on the conservation property and 1 tree on the town, along with a whole mess of knotweed was removed. And the bank was cut to allow for easier parking.
So there's a pretty
Mhm.
large parking area there now. I mean, you could fit a truck with a trailer in there, a couple of them, easy. Yeah. So, the plan that I propose is Plan 2, which is to block off the south of the boat ramp, to put like whatever, 3 boulders, just allow a place for cars to park, to unload their kayak or something. Put 3 rocks, block the driving along the river, the parking along the river on that road, and not have a circular pattern up to the parking lot along there. So that get blocked off there, and then the end of the upper large parking lot would get blocked with boulders, so that they couldn't drive down the hill there. And then, in that case, you may not need the boulders in the brush. If we still need the boulders in the brush, we can put them there too. But that would stop cars, that would keep cars in the parking lot and stop them from parking along the river and driving along the river and up and around to the parking lot, which is Plan 1, this is a plan I do not support.
The subcommittee supports Plan 1. It's been altered based on their input.
The subcommittee does not given support to any plan.
They haven't officially voted.
That's right.
So then
And
we
I,
don't
and I
support
would
Do we have
venture to
copies of those
guess
plans anywhere?
that they would support, I would venture to guess that they would support.
Sorry.
I can't speak for them,
No, that's okay. I
but,
just would like to see
I
what.
would be quite surprised.
But nothing's gonna happen yet. Right.
Well, we need to move boulders
The
in place.
9th,
We need to vote to move boulders in place.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I mean for the different plans.
The boulders
No.
are there,
Gonna
and
be
they're
removable.
massive.
There are, matter of fact, some of the boulders.
DPW
are-
must have it had to have taken 25 trips to
Yeah.
deliver these things, because some of them, they were one-trippers.
So, Plan 2.
So,
yeah.
so we have the resources, we just need to figure out, decide where we want to
This is
place
Plan 1.
those.
We're gonna have to change it to Sklar Waterfront Quarry, we're getting so many rocks
Yeah.
down there.
So
The rocks are a good problem.
Right, so basically, this is Dave Turkey's plan. And this is actually narrower than this. This is like, there's a berm here and this parking lot's bigger, but he wants, this is.
I guess more good news with that too is that
And parking, so they could park here. and
the problem used to be
fish
ATV use.
along the river.
We saw very few signs of that down there. That's where the abuse used to be occurring.
And this is
But now there are
Plan
probably
2,
more signs of
which is,
just four-wheel drive vehicle use.
so you barrier here with rocks.
Yep.
And you barrier here. and you could have-
No,
No, I like this
You could
much
have,
better.
you could have a couple of picnic tables here.
the subcommittee
benches
is
and stuff
meeting
here. You don't have
on
this
the
terrain.
9th
Yeah.
of
And
this month
is
to
huge down
move
here.
these rocks and
This is
clear
huge.
the
It's
vines
really big. This is not
from the
fair.
bridge. We have to continually cut these vines because they start encroaching on the road, and it's time to just remove them. So, after they do that, they're gonna move those rocks into place. I was thinking the other day, and I realized that over half of the subcommittee is disabled, so we're very limited on human power.
Does it-
Mark will be the only one moving those rocks because it's his machine and they're just too large for, just to move. So,
So what I'm afraid of, if we either, we don't want Mark to keep going down there with his backhoe. So what I'm afraid of is if we do not approve, one of these plans where to put the rocks, right, I'm afraid that they're just gonna get put by the bush and people are gonna continue to do that circular driving pattern park by the river. So I'd like to see that lower road blocked off, like in Plan 2. That's what I would like to see.
Oh, cars are already doing the
Yeah.
circular
we've been
parking?
doing it for decades.
Oh, well,
No,
Yeah, we-
no, that's not true, because that hasn't been cleared out for decades. You could only go up and down there straight for a long time. It's only in the last couple of years that you've been able to go around that little door in the middle.
Looks well packed.
oh, well, I agree, we need to cut that off.
Yeah,
Yes.
because even like we went down there, the day after we did the cleanup, and there was a truck stuck in the mud on the side of the river, because he turned in way too close. So, anything we can do to cut off along that river is gonna be very important.
Now,
And just to be clear, everything that, everyone's intentions are great with this parcel. I don't, I asked Stephanie to include the deed in this, 'cause I don't really understand. To me, it's not even a decision we need to debate for a whole lot. I think the deed's pretty clear that when it was sold to us, one of the restrictions was there would no motor vehicles on this property. This was to protect the water, to protect the Marymack, not, And the biggest problem down there right now, tree cutting's a big problem, but the biggest problem is the off-road vehicles.
Off-roaders have created an amazing amount of damage with their ruts.
It is
throughout
amazing.
the area.
Yeah.
We are gonna have a long-term plan to slowly fill them in as we have material to do so. But it's creating an issue with flooding on trails. It's creating, when the river goes up, there's islands in there because the water just flows into the ruts and makes rivers. It has to be stopped. I don't care where the rocks go. I'm just trying to think, it's gonna use less rocks to go where the brush pile is. And I'm worried that if you cut off that road,
People make new trails.
when you say no to someone, they're either gonna act out or they're gonna find a way around it.
Oh. So things
Excuse
take,
me?
things take time, right? You gotta, you have to start somewhere, you have to, things are much better now than they were 5 years ago.
Mm,
A
yeah.
lot better.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and it gets better every year.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the more this is used correctly, and the more bad use is discouraged,
Yep.
the sooner we're gonna get to where we need to be.
Now,
And everyone wants the same thing here. We only want to move those rocks once and put them in the right place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like the plan two, looks like.
So, are these plans, are these something that the subcommittee's gonna review, vote on?
They
make a decision?
reviewed it, but they haven't voted on it.
Okay.
No.
But I guess what I'm asking is that's not for the commission, that's for the subcommittee? Or
No. It's our property,
Mhm.
so we vote on it. We vote on improvements and changes for parcels, and then the subcommittees give us their
Okay.
plans. We vote on them, and
And we asked
Okay.
them to draw those up, just so we, when we did the
Okay.
walk, we'd have a, kind of see where the disconnect was, where the plans differed. And it
This
was
is the-
clear, it's the placement of those rocks where
Yeah.
the plans differ.
right, this is the appointed body from the town council. The subcommittees are
the muscle.
just, people that volunteered.
Okay,
So
And-
we're assuming the liability for anything that's done.
And there is a Plan 3, but that should just be disregarded, I feel, because that requires the main parking area to be at the end of the road. And that would require material from the town. I did this one too, but you can see, there's already a huge parking lot here, so what's the sense of blocking it now?
Yeah.
It's huge, it's bigger than I thought, and this would have to be improved for this to happen, so, Plan 2.
There is a plan 4. It's better
Plan
drawing.
4?
It's the best drawing, I think, 'cause I did it. It blocks off the way, in the parking lot. The rocks are along the edge there, and it leaves open where the boat launch is, so it's a one-way, which would create problems, because if you have enough cars, it would get plugged up, and you can't move unless the next person moves, so. So, I asked, these plans are pretty, just about the rocks, I think, right?
Yeah, but we're,
Mhm,
over
I
the
think so.
rocks. Yep,
Let's just call it rock moving.
you're right, so,
We'll come up with a plan for everything else. So, if someone wants to make a motion, I don't think there's more discussion needed on that.
so do we need to make a motion for Plan 1 and Plan 2, or? Or
Does
one or
everyone
the other?
understand what the difference of the two is?
If
Oh,
it's
one
further-
is they can go along. Plan 1 is leaving open by the river, letting cars go along the river.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm familiar with, I'm more for the people that haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
And Plan 2 blocks that access off.
Mhm.
And Plan 3 is out. Unless you want, I mean, you could,
In a nutshell, it's how close do we think people need to be able to park to the river?
Well, it's not even parking. I just don't want people, The trouble is, like, we saw that guy get towed out of there. So there was a huge tow truck that went down there, strapped up to a tree, because he got stuck in the mud trying to pull the guy out. So he strapped up to a tree, pulled himself out. So it's just like, it's gonna be a mess. That's just like soft silt. So, and we're gonna be sending trucks down there all the time, pulling people out.
And Mother
The-
Nature will fill in the ruts
that-
if we can just keep people
Yeah.
out of it.
That road along the riverbank is fairly solid. It's very,
Oh, good.
yeah.
And the other gravel on top of it.
The
But-
ground was frozen the
And
day we were out
and
there.
And the parking lot's bigger than you think it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty big. It's probably, right now, the parking lot's probably, 30 feet from the river right now? Yeah, because the river's high and the
Ah.
parking lot's pretty big.
While Eric's looking at those plans, I appreciate all the work that everybody's done on this Sklar waterfront plan. Obviously, a ton of work's went into it, and it's obviously still a work in progress. One of the things I would like to see when this is done is whatever's in either the 1-year plan or 3-year plan, that being a roadmap. So when the subcommittee comes in front of the commission and says, we would like to purchase X, Y, and Z, we can look right back at this plan, assuming it's the plan we all approve, and say, yeah, that is something that's directly related to the 1-year plan. We can approve those funds. So we know we're supporting, by approving funds for the park, we know we're supporting a long-range plan. And so, again, I know it's a work in progress and it's not done, but as this plan is completed, that's what I would like to see, is those things spelled out. The other thing feedback that I'll give on the project leader, it talks a little bit about
It was just,
information will be given to the chair. The chair will approve it, deny it, or bring it for a vote. Obviously, that's not the way the town committees run. The chair does not hold veto authority. And so, as we're doing this, it's the subcommittee makes the vote. So that was one of the pieces, as I read that stuck out to me. Chair does not hold that kind of authority.
Each subcommittee has an ex officio that's their responsibility to bring up the voting or the questions or whatever from the subcommittee into this group. So and then the chair comes up if we have a vote. So,
2 things. One, that was supposed to be removed from the draft. That is a draft. And question for Gage. If the subcommittee votes on something, right? Does the ex officio have to support it?
have to? No. He's they're a voting member. I mean, people can vote, but, a lot depends on what you're expecting to do down there on your own. So,
Well,
Are you talking about the rocks by the
I'm
bushes?
just talking about some members of the subcommittee feel that the ex officio has veto power.
How can I have veto power?
So, right, you're supposed to bring something here. I'm not talking about me. You're supposed to bring something here and it's not brought up for a motion or not said in the way that we.
Cannot stop anything from being brought up to a motion or voted on.
That's one of the concerns of the members, which is not me.
Yeah.
So I just want that clarified for them.
yeah, there's a charge.
Yeah.
And each subcommittee has the same charge. The only thing that changes is the name.
Someone can make a motion, and then someone can second it and
Yeah.
vote. Nobody can stop that, really, I don't think, right?
No.
All of us
Nobody
are
can
one voice, one vote.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And everything's done by the will of, in this particular case, the commission. I sit on the town council. I'm only one voice. I don't get to say anything. I vote, whatever the council decides, that's what happens.
I-
No one person has that authority.
I can make suggestions. I can never stop a motion or a vote. Never, and I wouldn't. I can make suggestions. I can suggest we bring this to the
You gotta,
Conservation Commission like I did, and
I'll let you explain to them at our next meeting in May. So, besides the off-roading issue, we've identified invasive species, bittersweet. Obviously, everyone sorry if I ended that too quickly. And Bittersweet, which is mostly where the Flying Eagles wanted to cut those trees, which now look absolutely horrible. That has to be taken care of at some point because it's gonna spread and strangle more trees. Burning Bush, I would like to actually take on the Burning Bush in May. Possibly rent a brush hog and just mow it all down. It's all in one group along the road. After it has a little bit of time to grow its leaves and before it grows its berries, cut it down, do that.
Mike, before I thought we were close to making a decision on which one of these plans.
Oh, I'm
Moving the
sorry.
rocks is there anyone that thinks that plan number one is the direction we should go and leave that road open and the parking lot open?
Plan number 1 is the full circle down by the water.
Or does everyone think we should go with plan number 2, where we're preventing all motor vehicles, from going into those areas? The road and the parking lot.
That's the motion that I would like to see happen, but does someone else want motion number 1 to go?
So,
told
just
you I
clarification on Plan 2. This original drawing had the barrier for rocks. I guess it would be in a north-south line. Someone
Yeah.
wrote in blue ink and changed them to east-west.
I apologize, there's a slight revision.
Yep.
Those rocks are turned 90 degrees because the parking lot narrows there, and it just looks like a nice spot after I looked at it.
Just a
Like, put
natural
picnic
choke
ta- like-
point to cut them off.
Not necessarily that, but it kind of, yeah, there's a more choke point there or where the rocks were before, but it can make a spot, if you stop the cars from getting way in there, you could put a picnic table or something in there, or something like that, but,
Okay.
yeah.
So there's a plan 2A and
Revised.
plan 2B?
Yeah, I think you saw Plan 2 revised.
Okay, all right.
It's just moving the boulders to,
This is the plan 2
Oh,
is the.
that's fine. I just wanted to clarify what we were
More
looking
bulls
at.
here.
yeah, either here instead of here.
Okay.
Yeah. Because then you can have some, you can do something in here.
Okay.
That's all. I mean, we can leave it like that, but
It
it'll
doesn't,
be
but
nicer.
it's not reducing the number of parking spaces.
No, not
And-
really.
And the reason I
think
wanted to
so.
clarify that,
No,
I didn't want to
no,
vote on
it's not.
Plan 2, and
Because
there'd be
it just narrows
confusion
here.
when we
Yep.
go to implement it.
It's not a good place to
That's the
park.
reason I
I
asked.
would
the
like
question.
And
it
people are gonna,
as
people
far
are gonna
away.
continue to do it.
What, Mike?
as far to the end as possible, so
Yeah.
people don't accidentally
So
back
there's-
into it.
There's like, they laid some boulders there when they dropped the
It
boulders.
has to be moved a
So
little more.
move those like probably about 4 or 5 feet
Yeah.
down towards the back. And I think we're in agreement there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they dropped.
So does
boulders
this
like
picture
right
most
here.
accurately depict it?
The river, yeah,
He just drew very accurately scaled boulders.
So maybe I'll make that, can I steal that
So,
and make that part of the?
Plan 2 revised with the boulders going in a east-west direction as opposed to a north-south direction. Yes,
Yeah.
is the plan.
I get,
Yeah.
The boulders which are at the end of the parking lot.
and it does kind of use the existing terrain. I mean,
Is,
I get the sense everyone's in agreement. Do we want to make a motion, vote on it anyhow?
I'd like to have a vote.
Okay.
Let me get this motion down. So, you wanna make a motion?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion for Plan 2 revised with the upper boulders in the parking lot.
Which I'll include in the minutes.
Are moved in the direction those boulders are moved, just to create a place for a picnic table or something. I would like to make a motion for the Conservation Commission to accept that plan and boulder placement to stop vehicle traffic down at Scholar Waterfront Park.
Second.
Motion by Mike, second by Cindy. Any further discussion on this?
So is Mark volunteering to do this work? Or
Yeah,
are
he
we gonna
is.
get the DPW down there?
I think Mark is volunteering to.
I hope his machine doesn't break. I'll feel really bad.
Did it break?
No, I hope it doesn't.
So if
He's moving a
he
lot around.
can't, then we'll try to get the
Then we'll-
town to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
Mark is volunteering.
Mark's done a ton.
He does.
I really, he's done a ton. He's
Mhm.
been a great neighbor down there,
Yeah.
so, I mean, you know, he volunteers a ton of time in machinery, which has got a real expense to it, so,
He's already volunteered to do
Yeah.
this, I believe.
so I just wanna
Mhm.
recognize that he's,
Yes.
he's,
Mhm.
you know, as far as a volunteer in town, he's been going above and beyond, been doing it for years, so.
Mark Todarski.
Mark Trudarski, yeah.
Mhm.
Can I just read this back to you, make sure I
Yeah.
got it right? Okay, so your motion was to accept Plan 2 revised with boulders moved from north-south to east-west.
Right, at the end of the,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yep, at the end of the large parking lot by the river.
I know.
And the other boulders are blocking off the lower road, and we need permission from the town to put boulders to block the north road.
I've got that on my list.
Yeah.
Wait a
Right.
minute, and other boulders,
To block the south of the boat ramp.
oh,
Into Trudarski, into the, Worcester property,
That's the north one.
yeah.
Yeah, the north one we need town permission for.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you were
So
going
we're
to.
blocking the south road.
Right.
And we need permission to block the north road.
yeah, but that's,
He's saying we need permission here.
Right,
in the
okay.
Town, so
Yeah.
we're gonna talk to Paul.
all right.
Yep.
So are we in agreement that if Paul okays it, we should go ahead, or is that gonna have to go, should it go up to town council?
I can
No,
ask.
I mean, my guess is it doesn't need to go to town council.
Okay.
Paul will know, and if it needs to go to council, he'll send it there.
Okay.
My guess is he'll say, yeah, that's a good idea, we don't want people down there in that mud.
I think there's a trail proposed for something.
It's just a
It's just a walk,
continuation.
it's just walking the
Mhm.
road, yeah.
He'll know if there's a reason that it has to go to town council.
So is there a motion?
It was seconded by Cindy. Any other discussion needed on this? Okay, all in
No,
favor?
actually, I do have Mike, you said, just making sure I didn't mishear anything, you said, although it wasn't on record, that you think that, the subcommittee would prefer Plan 1 over Plan 2, is that right, or did I mishear that?
Oh, Mike D.
Mike D, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Plan 1 is mostly from their input.
Okay, but they,
Can I speak? Plan 1 is is not from, it's from two people's input.
All the plans were written by
Yes.
Mike, and they've been altered. Plan 1 mostly, with the input of the subcommittee.
Okay.
Who is the gentleman who's with us? David Webb? Is that his name? David?
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
good.
I got the sense that there's a general appreciation. The subcommittee, I hope, I believe, understands that we're trying to do this balancing act here. What's right for the parcel from a, environmental perspective, not having these, not having the soil disrupted and so forth. And, I think they understand we have obligations, that are assigned, attached to this deed. I think that they understand that that's why we were down there. That's why we walked this. That's why we heard them, and David did a wonderful job kind of cutting to the chase of
Yeah.
what exactly was the debate, and why
yeah.
there was such
Deciding where to
consternation.
put the boulders.
Mhm. Did I answer your question in a long way, Eric?
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, because I support Plan 2 also by hearing everything, looking at the plans. I just want to make sure that the Scholar Subcommittee wouldn't be disappointed if we chose Plan 2 over Plan 1.
There will be disappointed members. But this-
When is the next meeting?
we're having a work day the 9th to move these rocks.
What day is the 9th? Is that on a weekend?
It's on Sunday. Is
Saturday,
it?
I think.
Saturday.
What
yeah.
time on Saturday?
8 in the morning.
Okay.
I didn't. set that
If I
time.
don't have a,
Oh, it's coming Saturday.
if I don't have a
So we-
lacrosse commitment, I
We
will,
plan on
I'll try to
moving the
get down there.
boulders on
swing.
Saturday?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
All right, we ready to vote?
Is Mark available? Oh, yeah, it's full.
He said he
so-
was.
Yep.
All in favor? All right, that's unanimous.
All right.
Do you feel you're gonna be able to get in touch with Paul
Yeah, I'll get in touch with you
prior?
tomorrow.
Because it would, if Mark's gonna volunteer to do this,
We want to do it all at once.
yeah, I'd like to have it all done, everything set up
Yeah.
and ready for him at once,
Mhm.
instead of having him,
Exactly.
you know,
Mhm.
waiting. All right.
All right. So if you could send me plan 2, I'd appreciate that.
I
have it
can
somewhere,
email
but I
it.
get
I have
so
it
many.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
I'll send
And
it out.
The boulders
Yeah.
just swing up.
Do you wanna email?
All right.
Email that.
Moving on.
Yeah. She'll need to make sure that's okay.
All right, I'm gonna reference a deed in this one. Section B, right here of the deed. I'll wait till you all have it in front of you. The protection of the biological integrity of the natural habitats, biological communities, and ecosystems of the property. That is part of our obligation. Invasives are not naturally there, for the most part, and they are destroying the natural ecosystem. So they have to be taken care of. And that is why I would like to have funding for a brush hog, which is about $115 out of Home Depot, to just mow all the burning bush down. It's all in one spot for the most part. And we'll see how fast it grows, and we'll just keep mowing it, maybe once a year in the springtime, until it stops growing. We'll pluck out the ones that grow here and there, and, you know, we have no plan for the bittersweet because there's too much of it.
I guess I'd like to hear someone's, I'm not in favor of invasives by any means. But we have invasives on every parcel. And do we have a resident expert on what is the timing? What is the best timing to attack invasives? Is it the spring? Is it in the fall? Does it matter? To me, Wasserman has the biggest invasive problem of any of
It,
the
the,
parcels.
knotweed is pretty bad, or bittersweet.
Bittersweet.
Yeah, bittersweet is really bad at Scalar.
The burning bush, I think the spring, because once it grows its leaves, then it's gonna start growing berries into the fall. You don't wanna be shredding up the bushes full of berries. So I think once they use the energy to grow their leaves, we should hit them then.
Did you get a chance to read the invasive sheet that I gave you for bittersweet?
I skimmed it, but I didn't read it in full yet.
So what are you gonna do with the burning bush to make sure that that doesn't spread? Did you go on the UNH co-op
It's gonna
site?
be shredded in place, cause it can't spread without the berries. There's no berries on the bushes.
Did you go on the UNH co-op site and look for the directions on what to do with it?
I have before. And my
So-
understanding is they can't spread without the
All
berries.
right, well, I'm gonna look it up and we'll
All right.
see.
All
So
right.
Mike, you said you wanted a brush hog?
Yes.
But so that's just a tool that
But that'll
digs
be in May.
or
I will
is that-
request it at
Let me
our
see.
May meeting.
It's a walk behind.
It's basically a walk behind mower, but it's meant for brush.
So but it must be a hand mower, kinda?
It's a big nasty machine.
Yeah, like-
Mm.
That's what I used to, when we mow we use, that to mow the
Oh, the
Spalding,
road?
the Spalding foundation.
No, I would not be asking for a brush hog if it was spread out. It's all in one giant group. Brush hog will take it out very quickly. If we do it by hand with the clippers, it's gonna take days.
I worry that we get into that situation again where we're not insured,
Mhm.
or we're not trained on that piece of equipment.
Well, we can ask DPW if they have, something
Mhm.
something they use to mow mow the, roads with, side roads with, if it's
Mhm.
available.
Is it all, where's it all piled right now?
It's on the side of the road.
Which, where?
It's on the right side, and it's starting to spread sprouts on the
All
left
right,
side.
as we come in, we take the left. Is it
Yep.
past there?
It's most of the road on the right. I have a video. I'll send it to you. I asked David.
That's
Gay-
probably an easier ask now, is to ask the town if they have a piece of equipment that could do
Yep.
it.
Right now, it's all green branches right now. It's starting to grow its leaves, so it's very easy to identify.
And that's one of the methods that they list is just the cutting it?
Cut and cover pretty much, or cut and dab with herbicide, but you need a license for that. Commercial license.
You gotta continue to cut it, cause it sprouts, so you gotta
Yeah.
keep cutting it.
Yeah,
Keep
I
cutting it.
pulled, when I researched it in my house, I just pulled it and put it on a tarp, let it dry, you know. And then,
The burning bush or the knotweed?
both, I pulled burning bush and I pulled Orient bittersweet in
Yeah.
my yard. Bittersweet.
Because I don't think the burning bush reseeds.
Okay.
It spreads because the birds eat the berries and then they go, poop, seeds with the little
Yes.
fertilized nitrogen right on them.
Right.
And they grow really well.
Yeah, I'll have to look back at, I mean, this was years ago when I did all the research and I thought I'd read that they suggested the same thing, but I'm
I'm
extra careful, you know, I'm extra careful because I don't want anything to, but I'll see if I can find.
So,
They
Not
did.
that we ever had a limit on this, but I think we've covered 4 of these items, right? Vehicle use in mud, cutting, trees in the notch. Tables and benches, we didn't really talk about that.
we're about to.
All right, let's do that. Is that the last item?
All right. Yeah, pretty much. So, let me check my notes real quick. All right. So we made a request for picnic tables before the winter. No second was made, so you know, like most things, it died.
Well, because we didn't have the plan yet,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
see the plan now, we're getting a better sense of
So
what
we
the
have a
table's
plan
for.
now, and so we talked about it again. We would like 4 picnic tables. I originally went to Picnic Table Factory, which Litchfield is who directed me there, and they were $300 each. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. So I went to Lowe's for something else, and they had picnic tables out there, and I was knocking on them, make sure they're good, and I asked, hey, how much is that? $149. So I don't know how long they'll last compared to the Picnic Table Factory, but they're the same size.
Are they
And-
pine or are they, you
I don't
know,
know.
They're
And they
wood?
have
They're
PT legs.
pressure treated legs and
Yeah.
pine, like a pine top? That's good.
Something.
Yeah, it's good if they have pressure treated legs.
Mm.
So, with that, they would also need at least 15-foot chains to secure them. They're $75 each. 6 locks. A 2-pack is $29.68. It would need the Thompson's water seal. A 5-gallon, which would cover all of them, is $89.98.
Yep. You think, sure you need 5 gallon?
If you buy the smaller one, it adds up to
Yeah.
about the same amount, so
Okay.
whatever you wanna do. Basically, the total is gonna be $1,318.06. And that's a quote from 2 days ago.
Would they deliver them, Mike?
They would for $79. That's a one-time delivery fee. Though we could go get them. That's possible.
So a lot of tables, so you might want them delivered.
Just 4, you
Mhm.
said, right?
4, yeah.
Can we even vote on something this
No.
big today? Yeah, I think this needs to go on the agenda again so people can actually see. This is a lot of money to put out.
And I'd like to know the location of where they're, because I thought that was gonna be
Yeah, you can.
Depending on what path we did with the rocks, where
You
the
could spell that out, right?
tables are
Yeah.
gonna go.
Have you talked to DPW about trash removal?
What do you mean trash removal?
They won't pick it up.
So we're gonna put picnic tables down there and no
Well,
trash cans?
That's my argument before, and I got a lecture about how Dave Trippett picks up the trash, and this is not something that I should be worried about.
The subcommittee does a really good job picking up trash.
Well, the subcommittee needs to get in the notch then, because we were picking up some
Yeah,
serious trash in that notch today.
The subcommittee is, have to
It's
say, a
not
little
the
bit
job of the
limited.
subcommittee to go pick up trash.
Well,
Right.
We
you
have
know
cleanup
what?
days and stuff like that, but
There
that's
are
not,
other places to clean up, so.
yeah, that's not, I don't want people down there as a regular job,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
walking around. I mean, I carry a bag with me when I walk, but
We got a carry and carry out sign today from Stephanie was kind enough to go digging around DPW.
Oh, nice.
and
Yeah,
find
carry
it
it.
for
I
us.
have one
It
in the
was a
car.
nice big sign.
Carry
So
in,
my
carry
car
out
there
sign.
has
Where did you
that.
see that?
I have one in the car. if
It
you
was
want
on the, in
Does that have a
Wildcat.
post?
Wildcat has one.
So is that what we want to do, put this on the agenda, vote it next? I mean, you've got the quote's good for how long?
Until Lowe's decides to change their prices.
Usually 30 days, right?
It's not a reserve quote.
Yeah, and I'd like to know the location, and a
Um,
plan, I guess,
yeah.
if the trash gets out of hand.
The town has an account at Lowe's too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we have that many do we have that many picnic tables at any other
No,
location?
we have one
No.
at Wildcat, and I don't think we have any anywhere else, do we?
yeah, but there's a trash can.
No, there's
Mm.
no trash can at Wildcat,
Is there a
not the
trash
part
problem?
of the
Used to
property.
be.
They got rid of it?
They got rid of it, it's carry and carry
Yeah.
out now.
No, good, I'm glad.
'Cause
That's
it was
good.
a
I didn't want
But
them in there.
quite honestly,
'Cause it
nobody
was a
uses the
problem.
picnic table, it just, I mean, maybe somebody does, I don't know, but whenever I walk by, it just sits there, just kind of,
Yeah.
you know.
Mike, do you think it would make more sense to start with maybe 2 picnic tables and see if they become a trash magnet?
They asked for more picnic tables, I reduced it to 4.
It's a no.
I think this is, I feel like we're still just chipping at little pieces instead of
Yeah.
like the whole.
A plan.
What's the
Mhm.
plan for this parcel? Is it a conservation area? Is it a boat launch area?
Now,
Or is it a park? I mean, if we turn it over
Quarry
to,
now.
to Parks and Rec, you know,
that's an option.
then, you know, that's a whole different ballgame, I guess. But I just feel like we're not really focusing on just the conservation.
Now, the first place you guys went wrong was letting them name it as Scholar Waterfront Park.
We didn't do anything wrong,
So
so don't be accusing people of doing things
I'm
wrong,
not,
Mike.
I'm not,
You just did it.
I'm not
Yeah.
accusing them of
You
wrong,
just did it.
a bad way. I'm just saying, but there is,
Yeah, we also
Right in
got
the
the
deed,
Horse Hill
park
Nature Preserve,
uses.
which they kill animals, not really a preserve, so I guess there's all kinds of names that have.
so the deed does allow park uses,
Yeah.
so,
Mhm.
under A on the second page.
Have
So
we
we
co-
can't vote on this till the next
Mm-hmm.
meeting anyways.
So
No.
I'll be specific, I'll make sure it goes on here as picnic table purchase on the agenda for the
The,
next one.
the breakout of what you gave us with how much everything costs should be submitted to
Should be
Steve so
part of
that
the
he can,
minutes.
yep, so that he can,
Or
okay, that
the
works.
packets.
Yep.
Now,
And some kind of map, I think would be good to see what we're gonna,
Mm.
locust map of the whole site, and this is what we're doing here, here, here.
Yeah, I think, the waterfront area and
Yeah.
the kiosk area is basically
Yeah,
the
just
picnic
the hidden
tables.
ones are fine, just so we
Mhm.
have an idea of what's
Yeah.
going where.
Yeah.
Mm.
and, at our last subcommittee meeting, which you weren't there, they want to know if they can have permission, like another subcommittee has, I don't remember what subcommittee, to fundraise. To have
What
their own
subcommittee?
fund that they can fundraise and get their own funds.
Horse Hill has their own fund.
But it's, do they,
they
they
fundraise
don't
it?
Yeah, so,
fundraise though,
well,
do they?
cause when we were trying to buy the property, there was a secondary fund that was made up, so people wanted to contribute to Horse Hill for whatever purpose, it could go right into a fund, so no one had access to the money except the town. And it was into the value of the property. We've never made another fund, we've never done that with any other parcel, that Horse Hill was the only one.
Now, one of the reasons for this is,
So, I mean, if we have a way to donate, if people wanna donate to the town, and donate to our, like, Fund 53 somehow, that might be, that's another question for Paul. If there's some way to do that, he'd have to figure out some way to do that. But then once that money goes in there, how do we earmark it for, you know, this is Scalar, that's just gonna be, be a math little.
Is it a nonprofit for Horse Hill? So does it have like a nonprofit status so that people can tax deduct it or
I would
something?
imagine it has to, but I don't know.
Yeah, because that's a whole different.
Yeah.
Mike, would this
No,
it's not a
fundraising be
separate-
for the committee to decide what to
Huh?
do with it, or would it,
I don't know
would there
anything
be
about it.
oversight?
Right, but not now.
Basically,
They took money, they used to, what were those, some kind of races, snowshoe races or something that they had? And I
Right.
think people would donate money to be part of that race, so they would put that in there. Those haven't happened for many, many years, because there's no snow. So there's just a small amount of money in there, right? And yeah, there's something with how the town can accept the money.
Yeah.
So they could put it through there, but it is, I know it's quite the process if somebody wants to donate money.
basically the idea is that, yes, we understand that it's half conservation and you don't want to spend conservation funds on picnic tables. So if people donate money to the funds, then you don't have to use conservation funds for it.
I don't think said we don't wanna spend it on picnic tables. I think we just by process can't do that tonight, cause we should have spelled it
Oh,
out.
I understand that. It's just,
I'm just
you know.
trying to understand how a dedicated fundraising thing would work, because if it's, somehow the town's gotta know what's going on with that. Would there be a provision for accountability, or what are you envisioning? Or what are your colleagues on the subcommittee envisioning?
well, basically, let us say, hey, if you want to donate to Scholars Development, donate here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if we say donate to Scholar and it goes into a general fund and then,
All we can do is ask Paul, he was our financial guru for a long time, so.
Still is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
still is.
still is, so I would ask him if people wanna donate to a particular
Uh-huh.
parcel or to the MCC in itself.
I suspect it may be easier to donate a picnic table than money.
Well, and I guess my question is, for town council, I see people going up and you have to accept the donation from the
Yeah.
town council. So how is that different than
Well, it's-
Mike donating a picnic
It's
table
over a
to
certain value,
Sklar?
right? I think it's over a certain value, I think it's like over $500, something like that, that's they have to
I'm
bring it
not
up.
so sure that it's a certain value.
I thought they
I
were
heard
free
that.
to accept it under a certain value.
yeah.
I don't know, I know it's in the RSA, I know we had a discussion recently about another fund that was just brought under the town management of another fund, and they wanted to set that up that they wouldn't have to come to the town council every time there was a donation to that particular fund through some fundraising efforts. And Paul was gonna go back and look, but we didn't think that most of the folks that had been on the council, and Paul, they didn't think that that was possible, that they would still have to come back to the council every time for a donation into that fund. So they were gonna go clarify and look at the RSAs, but
So how does it work then? Because all of a sudden now a picnic table appears and Mike Druin is on the forum saying, someone donated this picnic table. How is that different than, is that something that we can leave there now? Does that mean that we have accepted it because we're not saying anything about it? Is there an ethics violation here? I'm confused.
yeah, I don't know that I would call it an ethics violation, but, I don't know, it's probably something we should run by the town manager and make sure our ducks in a row before we proceed and do it. I don't have the answers. I don't know the answer to that question.
I can ask a question.
And, personally, I'm not opposed to spending money for the properties, but this is a property that is managed by volunteers. Watson Park is, there's paid town employees that go there, that take care of it, that pick up trash. This is just all volunteer. That's why I'm nervous about putting something there that could cause a big problem with trash. So, it's not the money for me. It's what it could happen. And location, I don't know where we're gonna put them within there. If you get a bench, people don't tend to bring in all big meals, I guess, to eat at benches. You know, seems like we have benches more at other parks.
My problem with
But-
benches, they're quite a bit more money. I
Not
was
if they're-
surprised.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah,
Not if
that's
they're
okay.
memorial benches.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or the scout, you know,
Right.
Eagle Scout projects.
Right.
Because that's, you know, that's a good point, is we accept, you know, and they're valuable. I mean, the outdoor classroom, those benches they made, I mean, those are
Yeah.
valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But we were asked, do we
Oh,
want this?
yeah, absolutely, I'm just saying, but that's, you know, we accepted,
But every one of
Value.
those was approved by town council before it happened.
Yeah, they had to go to town council.
they did have to go to town council, didn't they?
Yeah, we usually, a couple times a year, Eagle Scouts come and
Right.
ask to do a project.
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, the memorial benches, I don't think go to town council. The memorial benches will come here. I know when Mrs. Osmond came,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
we
we just,
approved
we let
that.
them, put that in.
You know, I mean, that's the thing, over time with the property, all of a sudden these projects come up and all of a sudden, you know, well, you didn't have benches. Well, now all of a sudden, boom, 4 benches went in Greater Woods because of
Yeah.
an Eagle Scout project or a,
Mhm.
you know, deck or an observation deck or, and over time, you know, it becomes,
And Quite honestly, do we really want to put 5 picnic tables and then when there are opportunities for a nice granite bench or something, we're like, sorry, we don't have any room because we have all these picnic tables?
Like I said before, the picnic tables are temporary. See if they get vandalized, see if they get thrown in the river or whatever, stolen. If nothing happens to them in 5 or so years, then we begin to
No.
replace them with that.
we can still like, next week decide, well,
Yep.
maybe we want
So-
to try 3 instead of 5 or 4.
I think next meeting we'll vote on
Yeah.
whether or not we want to pay for picnic tables and how many and
Okay.
where they'll go.
Moving on.
Is there anything else? We've had some great discussion about
No.
Scuba. Is there anything left?
For that tree overlooking the boat launch parking area, what do you want?
A lot of us saw the tree.
Mhm.
You saw the tree, you saw the tree.
We took the
You saw
ribbon
the
off
tree.
it. Mhm.
There's a tree that overhangs. I'm not a tree expert. It didn't look like it was in failing health. It looked like it was actually habitat for
Mhm.
creatures.
And it's blooming.
And it did have,
It has buds on it.
does anyone feel like we should, who thinks we should ask DPW to remove this massive tree and all its limbs? And
Yeah. It was marked for removal, and we took the flagging off because of, we knew there was people who did, you know. And, yeah, personally, I guess I'm for keeping it, or having someone, an expert, look at it.
I would
Yeah.
love to have an arborist come down and meet with the entire group, not just the SLAR subcommittee. I would like to hear what the arborist has to say
Yeah.
myself.
I would too.
I guess phrased the different ways, does anyone feel like there's an imminent need where we should say this tree needs to be taken down immediately and ask DPW to do that?
Not
I
any,
feel like it's a liability risk and the town attorney should look at it.
is the town attorney an arborist?
The town attorney is gonna say, hey, this is like this over a parking area.
Why is that any more of a risk than any other? Then maybe we don't need a parking area there.
Half the dirt is taken away from one side of it. You know, if this
Well,
falls.
who did that then? Maybe
all
that
right.
shouldn't have been taken
All right.
away.
I've been very patient here,
Have you?
Steve. But I feel like you're being too aggressive towards me.
I'm not being aggressive
Your
to you. I'm asking you questions.
Ethics violation, that was directed towards me.
Okay. We have one
cutting
person that thinks the
trees.
trees, I respect your opinion on the tree. Do we know an arborist?
UNH Co-op should have someone that
Yeah,
could come
and we
down.
can call Bay State, they have,
Well,
that's,
I'll call Bay State. Does that satisfy everyone in the room?
Yeah.
If I contact Bay State and ask them for a consultation on the tree?
Mike,
And if there's a walkthrough, can you let us know, because I got things to learn.
You got,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Me
yeah,
too.
We all like to.
To me,
know.
me too, because, arborist.
You know who else is an arborist? Is,
Bob McCabe.
yeah, that's exactly who I was thinking of.
All right, can we
Yeah.
move on to the seedling giveaway?
So, yeah, that's a good point. Bob McCabe is head of the, well, he was the head of the
And- and does he-
agricultural
Does
commission.
he live in Marymack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is perfect, right down by the
Yeah.
river.
Yeah.
So I'll call Bob tomorrow and see if he's,
Again, those are great discussions. We have 2 sets of minutes here to talk about in the seedling giveaway that's rapidly approaching. We haven't got the message yet to go pick those up. Is that strange that we wouldn't have had that by now? I feel like
No.
I'm usually
That's
driving up there
April.
to
Yeah.
Bosquen to pick them up.
Early April.
I know. It's early April still, yeah.
Mr. Courier said we can use his
Yep.
facility again and his fridge to store the seedlings. That's fantastic. What is the date? I should know when Mother's Day is,
May 9th?
We have it set
huh? Is
for
it
May 7th.
May 7th.
May 7th? Usually we have enough people there to pull this thing off. We even did it when it was difficult the last 2 years we did socially distanced seedling giveaway. We usually have plenty of people. I just think it's, if you, mark your calendar. If you don't have something better to do, that's always a good time for, a lot of us just show up for a couple hours and
Hopefully it's warm.
it, yeah, hopefully it's warm. It was nice last year, wasn't it?
That was cool.
Well, the sun was out.
It's warmer
But
out
yeah,
than
we have a
in.
better turnout for this than anything else we do,
Yeah.
so it's fulfilling, it's gratifying to take part in this, so if you don't have something better planned on that day, and as soon as I get the thing, I can swing by Bosquen and pick these up, as soon as we get the reminder that they're ready.
You're funny. Swing by Bosquen.
Swing by, my mother lives in Concord, it's not that bad. Other business, are there any subcommittee updates? I don't think we've had one since our last meeting, have we?
We have a Wildcat Falls Subcommittee meeting, Tuesday, April 12th at 6:30,
April 12th.
right here in the Memorial Room.
And Scalar's got a work day this Saturday at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. We're hoping to get done by 10. We also have a issue, besides one of our members just having surgery on his knees. Another one has serious health condition. So we're partly disabled at the moment. So.
Anyone else? Nope.
Our thoughts are with Anita.
No.
Presentation of the minutes. Should we start with the March 7th?
I will make a motion to approve the Marymack Conservation Commission meeting minutes dated March 7th, 2022, with changes as follows. The only change that I have that Stephanie already knows about is, Eric, you were there, so she will make sure that your name is added to the list. Oh, we need a sign.
Oh, yeah, I second. Anyone else?
Page 4, line 154. I think that should be past conversations.
Oh,
Right.
thank you.
Wow,
And then-
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
that's pretty good.
Wow.
I skipped over that one.
Excellent.
And then,
Free.
page 7, line 270. I think the second "of" comes out.
Which line was it?
Oh, line 270. A lot of time closing trails.
Got it. Thank you. Good catches.
They look good? Oh, and
Anyone else?
did I second that motion? I meant
I
to.
did.
Oh, you did? Okay, thank you. I was busy, I said it in my head. You didn't hear me?
Inside thought.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Any other discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0. And can we move on and do the March 29th?
Okay, so on this one, These are the on-site at Sklar Conservation Commission, and Gage, Cindy, Andy, and Eric were not there, so it's up to you if you wanna vote on them or not. But the motion will be to approve the Marymack Conservation Commission meeting minutes, which were on-site at Sklar Waterfront Park, dated Tuesday, March 29th, 2022, with changes as follows.
I second.
And I have one change, which is bad because I typed these. And the one change is on page 2, line 56. Lenny's last name is spelled W-O-R-S-T-E-R.
Gina, I just had one, and maybe there's a reason for doing this.
Sure.
We have something in page 2, 3/4 of the way down, all in caps.
Yeah.
It wasn't
put
really a
that-
quote, I don't know. Do we-
No, I put that there on purpose just to catch your eye so that we understand that there are ramifications to that loan. I can take it out if you want. You want just regular?
I think you guys did a fabulous job capturing these, and everything in them is important. I don't
Mhm.
know that it's necessary to
Okay, so
accentuate that versus the
Take the
rest of
caps
it.
out.
I wasn't present at this, but I think you guys said Lenny owns the property to the north side?
He's a, yeah.
Okay, he was representing, cause here it says he's Flying Eagles RC Club.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's not, that's, when I was there, I thought I heard him introduced as representing,
Yeah.
the owner. I don't recall him being.
Yeah, I think he represented the owner, not the,
I don't recall him being a representative of the club.
Wasn't Lenny the one that came and did the Flying Eagles presentation for us? Way back when?
No, that's not the guy.
All right, well, I will find out what Lenny is and get the correct name.
Representative of a butter, I think, would be more what I understand.
more appropriate.
Of the Patterson Corp.
Okay. Okay.
Anyone else? Please. And again, we didn't, well, you know, the only motion we had that day was to adjourn, but just important that we, for right to know reasons, that that we do it the right way.
Okay, we might have a problem approving these because right now, there's you, there's Mike Boisvert, there's me, and then everybody else that was there was an alternate
But I
So-
was
That's
sitting-
fine.
I was named to sit in for somebody.
at that particular meeting, but
Yeah, I
tonight you're
think-
not named to sit in, so for us to approve these minutes tonight,
Yeah, but I can approve.
Mhm.
okay, you can
Yeah.
approve. I
Yeah.
just wasn't sure if you would want to.
We can vote.
Yeah.
to approve
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I
minutes.
know, I just wasn't sure if you would want to.
Yeah, I mean, I read them, so, they,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all in favor of approving the minutes? Motion carries 7-0. Fantastic. I don't see any members of the public here to provide us additional public comment. We'll go around the room. Gage, anything?
It's been up in Greater Woods a little bit the last couple of days, and it's, trails look pretty good. There's been, quite a bit of blowdown, but a lot of people are doing their best just to push stuff off to the side, so, the trails are pretty firm. We definitely have some work to do on Red Maple, along the edge of the Red Maple, where the spill of the neighborhood comes down. There's a gully there, that's supposed to be diverting water, and it's pretty full of leaves, and it's really coming across the trail, so, the rest of the gullies are really deep and substantial, but we're getting a lot of tree growth in there, so we're gonna start doing some maintenance.
Is that the trail that the town's gone out before and mowed it back?
Red Maple?
Yeah, Red
No,
Maple?
but
No.
they go the Gateway. They go
The one we walked, Mike, when we did the duck boxes?
Gateway Trail is the one that.
We came back via Gateway,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Gateway Trail is the main trail through the parcel, and that's the one that's 13 feet wide from gate to gate, so we can get, emergency equipment down it. And that's the one it's closing in, and then the swales, the drainage swales on the other, I mean, we got some saplings in there that have some,
Really?
getting some size, so we need to start doing some maintenance up there. But that's it.
That's it. Mike?
No further comments?
I was at Horse Hill, last Wednesday, and you're all familiar with how the beavers around Stocker Pond like to make themselves at home.
Oh, man,
Well,
do
they're
they.
doing it more. The one remaining big double trunk tree by the first branch, they were starting on it.
Oh, no.
And I suspect if I go this weekend, it'll be down. What to do about that, I don't know, just letting you know that the beavers are at it again. Also, there is, the one marker, it's out on the eastern side of it, it's got stuff growing up around it now that the leaves are coming out. I'll discuss it with the subcommittee and we'll see about coming to you. Stuff's gonna have to be chopped away to make sure that's visible, because right now, once the leaves come out,
No.
there's three things coming together there, so I think it's important that the junction be signed, but the sign's gotta be visible.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned.
Okay. Eric?
So between now and next meeting, I plan to get out to Sklar and map the area, map the trails, that is. I also might do some ID of flora and fauna just to round out the list that was in the presentation. Because even though my job title is literally just scientist, I haven't done any actual science since college, so it'd be nice to do a little science.
We benefit from it.
Yeah. And yeah, I also plan, be a little ahead of schedule, but I might head out to Wildcat Falls and check up on the erosion that we've been seeing the last 2 years, just seeing if it's progressed at all. But yeah, be a little ahead of schedule, because that's usually every July or August we've checked the erosion. But I may just do that this April, since I have time to do it.
Excellent. Thanks. Cindy?
I don't have anything.
Mike?
All right, so I'm a very cool person, positive. I don't put energy in, I don't lose sleep over stuff. I like you all. We don't go out to lunch at all, which would be nice, but anyway, but I have a problem when a conservation commissioner from Litchfield who watches our meetings comes to me and asks about something. Members of the public ask me about something. Fellow commissioner asked me about something. And, it's basically unprofessional behavior here. I want to try to be as professional as possible, right? I'm not flawless. I got to work on things. But while we're here doing our appointed duty, we just gotta, stick to business, not whatever grudge we have. That's it.
Well, thanks, Mike. I'm sorry you feel that way. Andy?
Two things. One, Eric, you just brought something up with Wildcat Falls. Do you? No. Do you know if you're gonna be continuing on next year?
Not likely. So my term, so I inherited someone else's term. I
Right.
don't remember who. But my original 3-year term would be up this June or July.
Yes.
Because since I just graduated from graduate school, I'm not sure how long I'm even gonna be living in Merrimack.
Right, that's what I was
So,
curious about.
yeah. So
Okay.
right now, I'm not planning to. I may stick on just for the future and just resign whenever times come. So I'm not entirely sure, but right now, I'm actually probably not planning on extending my term past the summer.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. And Ellen, my question for you was, the maps that you have for Horse Hill, did you want Mrs. Osman had sent the email, did you want her to take some?
She is welcome to. I
Okay.
can actually go back to that. I can communicate with her myself.
That
and
would be
get
wonderful.
them over to her.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
I
Okay.
don't just have them, I've told my son, they're not just there to block off the entrance to his room. I will be distributing.
It is a big box, I'm not sure why they asked for 3,000 of them, typically
No.
we get.
I'll follow up on that and I'll
Yeah,
make sure she
typically
gets
when
it.
we ask for maps, we ask for anywhere between 500 to 1,000.
Anything else?
That's it?
I have nothing.
Motion
Go ahead,
to adjourn?
second.
All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Time is 8:40.
41.
Boy, I have a lot of notes.